Surprise! You didn't think you'd have an episode between the Stubbies and the season 3 premiere, did you? But here we are with a special bonus boat episode for you. I am Mike Robertson, joined as always by Mike Taylor. Mike, are you excited for this special, very special episode of the Love Boat Project?
So excited. This is the sort of appetizer to season 3. So I'm very excited. This is kind of getting the muscle, getting back in shape.
Exactly. So here's the conceit. So during every one of our normal episodes, we always have a segment. What else was on? What else is on? I think we call it both, but basically kind of looking at what else was on TV against the Love Boat that night back in the original air date. And we've come across some real classics. Centennial, so many TV movies, Chips. But I think there was just one duo that we couldn't leave season 2 without checking in on. Oh, no. And thanks to the good people at YouTube, we were able to find a very famous episode in Love Boat Project history. That's right. It's season 1 of 1, episode 5 of 6.
Maybe 7. Maybe. But I believe, 6.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about the American Girls. We found them. We found them, folks. After months of not knowing where they went, we found out where they went, and it turned out it was Oregon.
So we heard your requests. We heard what you wanted, and we're just giving you what you asked for.
Yeah. This was kind of just a fortuitous bounce where I was able to locate this episode on YouTube. I don't even know what made me look for it. And me and Mike had been kind of kicking around some ideas for in between seasons anyway. This felt like the perfect first episode for one of these bonus episodes. And, well, Mike, what are your initial thoughts on the American Girls?
2 words just kind of are recurring as I watched, and that's production value, and production value.
It is possibly the worst episode of television I've ever seen. It is so bad.
It's funny. It became easier as I watched it for the second time, but it was surprisingly not as much, not as easy as it usually is with a Love Boat episode where things start to gel and you're like, oh, it wasn't an easy watch the first time. I'll say that.
No, because you don't really know what to expect. Like, we make a lot of fun of the Love Boat. We make a lot of fun of the acting and the plot holes and things like that. But this is like, if the Love Boat is the best player on a 500 baseball team, the American Girls is coming up to the plate with a broomstick in a minor league ballpark. Like,
doesn't have a chance.
It is a combination of acting and plot and writing and logic and production values and special effects that are beyond the pale. So we are going to talk about it now. Just a couple notes here before we start. Because it's a bonus episode, you won't be getting the classic deep dive in terms of the scene by scene, nor do you really need it for this one. But we'll just kind of talk about it in review and kind of see where it goes. We're feeling it out too, kind of see how we want to do this. But the intention is that we're going to do more of these, kind of based on not only what else is on for season 3 and moving forward, but also I think we'd like to expand it to maybe programs that involve some of the crew members, right?
Sure,
like, is there our friend, I believe it was our friend Helen, had sent in a note about a Bernie Capel after school special from the mid 80s.
Hey, I'm open-minded to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can do, and we would love to hear your feedback in terms of kind of love boat adjacent that we can add into the bonus. But this was a really good place to start, I think. So,
well, I think it's weird is because we've gone through so many episodes of the Love Boat now. And in comparison, I mean, the Love Boat is film noir compared to what we're about to talk about. It really, 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 it's funny. It's like, do I have notes? Yeah. I think I have more questions than I have notes. It's just
yes. I have a lot of questions about the show itself, like the choices that were made, and then the logic of the plot. The I still don't quite understand what happened.
No. Oh, there's I did a little research on some of these plot points. Just I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. So for those of you who may not remember all the way back to the beginning of our season 2, the American Girls, I think we always kind of assumed it was like a 60 minutes kind of show where these two female reporters got into crazy mix-em-ups. I know there was something about they had to help a magician, and I think there was a arson or something. They were like really, but I think we both assumed they were reporters, and it seems like they're researchers.
I wonder, as I was watching too, I'm wondering, is this just the CBS version of Charlie's Angels, where it's different enough from Charlie's? Oh, it's not 3 girls, it's 2. They're not private eyes, they're reporter/adventurers, and there's a guy that talks to, you know what I mean? I wonder if it's something like that, because it was real loosey-goosey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this is where I get confused. So the show stars Priscilla Barnes, who is Terry from Three's Company, also has been on the Love Boat already. Big fan. I really do like her. I don't think she was good in this, but she was, she was the overacting of the 2 girls.
Oh, would you say she was better than the other? Would you say she stronger performance?
Mike, I would say many of the rocks and grainy terrain that the cast walked across in this episode was better than Amy, played by Diana Krigler.
Interesting fact on that later. I thought she did a great job sitting in helicopter. She did a great job, like staging wise. Amy nailed it. Great job sitting.
Remember, especially in season 1, where the Love Boat would connotate 2 people were attracted to each other by having them stare at each other and the camera would just jump back and forth? Yeah. That was her whole thing. Like, even that first scene where she's having lunch with
genius?
Carburetor guy.
Like, she had 30 minutes, and he's like, there's plenty of time to get a burger if you like it rare and you don't get fries. I'm like, how about you just fix my carburetor?
Right.
Notice when they came out, the carburetor still didn't work.
And then she's late. She spoke into what I think is a tractor beam pulling machine. Right, I don't know what.
Yeah, let's. So before we get too far down the rabbit hole here, let's begin with the beginning here. And the beginning, before we get go, Deborah Klinger. This is important. This is noticed. I did a little research. Member of the Klinger sisters. I don't know if you're aware of them.
Like Jamie Farr.
Good one. They all were trying to. They were looking for Section 8s. Oh,
they were just trying to get out.
That's it. They started a barbershop quartet. It's her and her 4 sisters. They transitioned into playing their own instruments in a rock band. One of the very first rock and roll girl bands.
Really?
Yeah. This is Peggy Klinger, Patsy Klinger, Melody Klinger, Jeanette Klinger, and Lisa Klinger. There may or may not be a Klinger-related quiz at some point.
So that then throws my whole metric out, because I was thinking, oh, she's the worst actress we've seen that wasn't a musician, but maybe she's just one of the bad musician actresses.
Or maybe she's just a musician. And because she had a look or, an appeal, you put her on a show like this. They didn't. Now, I'm not saying she could have handled more, but they didn't really give her a whole lot. It was like, okay, answer phone in van. Very simple acting instructions. Sit on side of helicopter, drive at night.
Drive at night, drive during the day.
Right.
Eventually get in a helicopter. It's rough. It is rough. It is. I would like us to approach next season to decide if she's worse than any actor we see in season 3. I don't think she's as bad as the twins, but she's in McCoo to Neil territory. I think
she's there wasn't heavy lifting. There was no lifting.
No. And it's worse because she is the regular two-hander of a show. Right. Yeah, exactly. So it was jarring right away because that scene with Henry the carburetor guy goes on for a while, and I guess the whole gist of it is he wants to ask her out for a date, but she's only got a half hour, but lunch took 45 minutes.
Well, and what a weird way to start an episode. You see like two heinies in the front of a van, and you're like, what? And this guy is like the shadiest looking guy. Number one, Mike, his hands were clean. His hands were clean, the carburetor guy, which is probably why the carburetor didn't work. This guy was super creepy. So Amy, she's already 15 minutes late to the airfield. Like, what?
And what's she doing? She's getting the... So she's trying to get the van fixed. But who's driving the van if she gets on the plane? Right?
They're just going to leave that there and go...
Which is fine, but then you didn't have to get the carburetor fixed 15 minutes before your flight leaves.
You could have taken a cab. I'll leave it here. I'll be back.
Leave it in the garage. We'll get back to it when I get back from Seattle.
You know what? I do have time for that burger.
Or not. But
yeah, I'm... You know how mad I'd be if I was a reporter and my partner reporter was like, I'll meet you at the airfield at 2 and it's 2:00. Well, also there were no cell phones. She could have called the airfield, said, hey,
well, she talked into something. She talked into one of those buzzers you get at Applebee's when your table's ready.
What that was. I don't know what that was. I don't know how she had a phone in the van. Like, how do you have a landline in the van? Because it was like a phone receiver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they made a lot of allowances that a news van would have all the modern technologies that you could possibly imagine.
Well, my other question then is I'm not much of a newsman, but if I was, would it always sound like tick, 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 tick in my office, like 24 hours a day? Is there a printing press in all of their offices?
So now you're in my wheelhouse. So that tick, 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 tick thing is like an all 24-hour news radio station tradition, right?
Right.
And a busy newsroom, you would think, would be a newspaper where hot stories are coming in, got to get hit deadlines, all this stuff. This is a news magazine show. This is only airing probably on like Sunday night in a few days. This guy, this chief, is answering phones and yelling over what appears to be like a train station.
I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, it's like, what are you
He's
doing,
at Union
Francis?
Square,
Francis X. Casey? Like, where do you work at the Daily Planet? Like, what's going on over there?
He's just gesturing with his coffee cup the whole time.
And you know, my biggest pet peeve.
And here's the thing: this news program, they just ended up running footage of their own people at the end, so it wasn't like. I don't think it's the prestigious news magazine that we kind of thought it was.
Well, considering what they were going to investigate next, wasn't it like a psychic who just left NASA who's missing?
Yeah, I'd watch that.
It's Weekly World News. That's what this is.
Yeah, but
you could get into like Supernatural though with this. If this had kept going a few decades,
To be fair, we'll never know about the Deep Throat who's going to expose the villainy of sending toxic chemicals across the country in transports.
We'll never know. So. Matt, well, apparently he took them out. There's nobody left to tell the story.
So the conceit is that the two reporters are supposed to fly to Seattle, and I guess there's no time for an actual airline, so they have to take this crop duster from Los Angeles, I guess?
No. They have to take a crop duster from Placer City, Nevada.
Oh.
Which does not exist, sir.
Oh.
There is no Placer City, Nevada. In fact,
not anymore, there's not.
Yeah, well, not after this. They shut it down.
One plane town. This is very much Joe Hackett. This is Sandpiper.
Well, there's a Placer City east of San Diego in the desert, but that's not this at all.
That's not it.
That's so far away from where they're talking about. So I just wanted to clarify that right off the bat.
So Rebecca, who is Terry the nurse, can't wait around for Amy.
Well, she's told not to wait.
He told her. The chief was like, "No time. I need that interview." Stat.
Bring me those pictures of Spider-Man. Basically, what he was.
So she she gets on the plane with old Ted,
Sure.
but they have to get out early. They can't wait around because there's a storm coming. And it's pretty obvious that the storm's coming when we get this aerial footage of this model airplane that is just floating down
this balsa wood plane that's just moving about.
And apparently this reporter / researcher, worldly, you would think, she's on National News Magazine, is taking pictures out of the front of it like she's, just at Ellis Island on a boat. Like, it's just like, is this the first time you've been on a plane?
What is the first time seeing weather? The other thing I thought was weird is, why is she sitting in the front of the plane?
Yeah.
There was windows like in the back. Like, you wouldn't do that.
Well, obviously, if the third person had been there, they'd be sitting back there.
Or she might have been dead if she was sitting back there. Unless you're Ric Flair, it's not a good place to sit in a plane crash.
Well,
apparently,
to be fair, that plane was fine except for the oil leak when it hit the ground.
Hey, that plane has been about to explode for about 47 hours. We're cold. We need shelter. Don't go in there. Whatever.
I just have questions on how many days all this took place, to be honest with you. But
there's no telling. A lot of sleeping happened.
Long story short, the plane gets into turbulence, and I think they actually even try to cover it by saying clear turbulence because it is bright. It's never been nicer.
It doesn't
in the Pacific Northwest than it was this day.
Well, no, and they're also like flying in like a World War II plane. We didn't know they were taking a DC-10 there. Good
I
Lord.
think they got shot by the Red Baron.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? Did you get this plane from the set of the Dirty Dozen? Like, what are we doing with this thing?
So they call Mayday. Now it's funny because the guy, Ted, the pilot, is like, here, use this, and he's trying to explain it. But you can hear him in the intercom over Terry when she's talking.
He's just repeating something. It's disappointing to see Officer Andy Renko go out like this, sir.
I was wondering where I knew him from. So
bothers me. Oh, such a clown.
So they get a hold of some guy in some trailer who
some kid on a ham radio, essentially.
Right. Like it was like Galaxy Quest when Tim Allen has to call Justin Long. But the guy's like, oh yeah, I know where you're at. Right.
The kid's the only person that can hear it.
Right. I know where you're at. Classic fire tower and rocks.
20 clicks away from the fire tower, just west of the landing zone. You'll be fine. I meant to say turn 0%. Yeah. This guy's a psychopath too.
Turns out that was wrong.
Yeah. Turns out, yeah. It's funny. This ham radio business is a little odd to me. Nobody else, like, because it was windy or because there might be cold weather approaching that knocks out your radio signal, so your plane can't effectively communicate with anyone along the way.
Yeah. This is well, and that kind of goes to me also when they don't get rescued for so many days. Like, this was not, they didn't get knocked off course like Lost. Like, they basically
they weren't exploring a new land.
No, this guy was able to fly the helicopter to the place from this shack. Eventually,
it's my dad's helicopter. I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down. Anyway, they crashed. They quote unquote crashed the plane.
Well, maybe. All I saw was a bunch of dust. I didn't see much smoke. I just saw a cloud of dust.
He put it down. He put it down right side up, but somehow he punctured the gas tank. Like,
yeah.
He must have landed on one stick. So,
I don't know how he did it. And the thing is the fact that there were no injuries to the people that have like a front row seat to basically the impact into trees.
Right. And rocks.
Defied the odds. Yeah.
But so they hit the ground. They got to get out of the plane because the gas tank is leaking. They got to go.
Any second it's going to explode.
Right. But they grab the ELT.
Emergency Location Tracker.
This episode's sponsored by ELT.
ELT.
And they're on their way. And then we never really get a sense of how long they've been out there. But Rebecca is immediately harried by the fact that they are going to die. So
she's already freaking out, and then he showed her these ridiculous things. So like, here's how you can get a thimble of water out of the air. Here's how And she's like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
No.
Like, well, I read it.
Then she goes and picks berries. And
jeez.
she's got 2 handfuls of berries. One of them is off of a flat rock, and one of them is off of like a branch. And this feels like a test that you take in Boy Scouts. And Ted, the pilot's like, I don't know, branch. And she eats one.
She eats them.
Immediately,
well, she throws up. You know, her acting was so good. That's one of the best vomiting scenes I've ever seen, Terry.
Oh my God.
Well, it's funny. One thing that that we might have missed along the way is that we had the commercials for this.
Yes. Yeah, we should bring that up.
And early on, there was just one that is right about now when they were showing it that really made me laugh out loud, and it was the Hostess Cupcakes commercial.
The Wholesome Choice?
Yeah, the Wholesome Choice. So it's a family on the beach, and it's windy. What a perfect time for an ice cold glass of 2% and a delicious and somewhat gritty Hostess treat. I was like, who? And off season at the beach, I've never seen anybody drink milk, a glass of milk, or even cereal at the beach on the sand. That was wild. Oh, and now Midas also now works on foreign cars. I just want to say that. That's a new revelation for Midas. Yeah. Okay.
The commercials were included on the YouTube, which was exciting.
Yeah.
I will say I was hoping for more ridiculousness. Like there were no like, oh, cigarettes, kids, like things like
nothing.
That.
Just an abundance of pantyhose commercials.
Especially the second half, it really skewed towards female advertising.
Oh, in a writer's room, they're like, oh, the gals will love this show.
Yeah.
Let's give them.
The one I did want to highlight, though, because we actually did talk about it in the season premiere of last season, was our old friend Everett Buell.
Yes.
Was in the Doritos commercial for the never had, but would definitely try sour cream and onion Doritos.
I'm all about it. I saw that. I almost jumped out of my seat when I saw an old familiar face.
Yep.
Hawking sour cream and onion Doritos, which just sound amazing.
I think that was in the same commercial break as the KFC. Well, it wasn't even KFC back then. It was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
With the
one of the worst songs I've ever heard. But
a lot of diversity in the commercial, though, I will say.
There was, but not a lot of rhyming iambic pentameter in this rhyme.
They were the worst songwriters. Paul Williams did not write this song for KFC.
So I would say that great the commercials were included. Loved to see them. A little disappointed. Although we did get a Sanka commercial as well, which was nice.
I love a Sanka commercial. That was
so while Rebecca and Ted are slowly slipping into madness, 15 minutes into their plight, Amy gets to the airfield at, what was the name of the city? Plantier Town or something like that.
City, Nevada.
Placer City. So she gets there.
Nevada. Yeah.
And she runs into Lem or Lou or whoever this other guy is. And she's like, oh, sorry I'm late. When's the next plane? This guy's like, we got one plane.
Got one plane,
ma'am. But the phone rings and it's Seattle. And they're like, hey, that plane you guys sent us, we didn't get it. So.
That's why Amy should have been like, do I just continue to wait here then? Like, if we know it's not there, then there's no point in me waiting, right? I'll just fix the carburetor and head to Seattle.
Yeah, and this is where the acting chops of the Klinger family really pay off, because she just kind of doesn't say anything for like an hour and a half.
Yep. Just sits.
And then she's like, I should have been on that plane. But you should have been. That was rude.
Yeah, you should have been.
And honestly, your extra 100 pounds probably would have helped.
It probably would have stabilized the whole thing. You could have been one on each side.
Yeah.
I hope that burger was worth it. Didn't even get fries, if I'm not mistaken. She probably, if she didn't, she'd be starving now. So I guess it's one of those sliding door type things.
because it is the late 70s, and to your point about Charlie's Angels and stuff, like, do we think that the American Girls are always catting around? Like,
oh yeah.
Do you think burger was a euphemism?
Possibly. Well, I don't have any money, carburetor genius. Don't trust, like, ladies.
Yeah.
I don't give a lot of tips. She
calls,
but I will give one tip here, and then the tip is, if you're having a guy fix your car and his hands are not dirty, think about it. That's all. Just think about it. That's all.
It's amazing she made it all the way to Oregon with that truck. They
didn't seem like reporters. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, they weren't. They were researchers. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, she pulled out 1:30. The carburetor wizard got to go have a burger. Like, that stupid recorder.
Yeah, I still don't understand what that was about.
What are you recording it
like,
for?
Did she do that in case she was murdered?
Can I see your driver's license? Yeah, I've heard that one before. Yeah.
So she calls John Jameson, wherever the fuck, Bosley. This guy Bosley. And she calls Perry White, and she's like, "Hey, the plane never landed. I was supposed to be on that plane." She's doing a lot of that, and he's like, "Listen, no time. We gotta move on. Time is money."
Like, you gotta go. We need you there now. Baka.
But he basically tells her to get in the news van and drive to the area, which, again, indistinguished area. Like, the fact that she found that ham radio guy is remarkable. That's probably the best investigative journalism we saw today.
Well, like, how the heck did you find this? Maybe it was all the AMCs parked outside. She just happened to stumble upon it. She's like, look at these fine cars parked outside this trailer.
It's like the first War Games.
Well, it's funny. Sorry.
Oh, don't apologize for this. There's no.
Well, I'm saying, these guys, this team, the guys that she saw at the trailer, like the official.
Oh, guys. The FAA guys.
The FAA guys. Nothing says crash recovery unit like a shiny pair of wingtips and a beautiful new AMC.
Yeah.
What were they going to do? They're going to go in the woods?
To be fair, also, like, if this is the search and rescue party, I'm concerned because they bail so fast on this thing.
Well, they're like, there's a 37% chance of cold weather without any precipitation. Call it off, boys.
Well, you know what it is, Mike. Let me tell you one thing I've learned in all my years. You can't beat weather.
Oh, you can fight a lot of things, but you can't beat. Yeah, when he said that, I was like, yep, call off search. Apparently, that guy doesn't do anything. There's
long story short, the plane did not land where the guy told them to go, and so they're searching in this area, and they can't find the plane. I guess they assume it disintegrated, like it hit the ground so fast that it just burned up and there's nothing left.
Oh, maybe it crashed into that old acid factory in the woods up there.
Like, it got Jack Napiered.
But like, this ham radio guy is a complete psychopath at this point.
Oh my God.
Like, he knows people are in trouble. He knows he's taken the tape, and the guy's like, you didn't take a tape, did you? You didn't make a tape. No. I didn't make a tape. Like,
yeah.
Why did you purposely tell them the wrong thing?
This kid screws up. Basically, it sounds like he told them 60 when he meant 260 latitude, longitude, whatever. But he sent them like miles away from where they're looking.
Boy, that's a crazy level to not admit a mistake. Am I right?
Right. So the FAA shows up and they're like, we can't find him. And there's like, anything you're not telling us? He's like, you didn't make a recording. He's like, nope, definitely didn't make a recording.
Nope.
And then they leave because they're like, this search is done, basically. And Amy's all distraught. And then when Amy leaves to go take care of business, the guy plays the tape that he made.
He makes her a sandwich and gives her a glass of milk. Second glass of milk this episode so far, if we're keeping track. Gives her that, and then she's leaving, and he's like, her friend's gonna die, and you're feeding her like crustless PB&J in a glass of milk. You're crazy, dude.
There's no way either of us know this answer, but like, you're not legally in trouble if you give the wrong if you make a mistake, right? I mean, like, what's he worried about that he's not turning the tape over?
That's not that's not, oh, I screwed up, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we can adjust.
Exactly.
Now we know
there's
where
still a
they
lot
are.
of time. It's only the first day. It's not like 6 weeks later when they finally reveal it.
So let's say it plays out a different way, right? So they never find them and they perish, right?
Yeah.
They probably get a freaking cougar eats them or bear, who knows?
Yeah.
Or they fall down a hill after they discover
they take
water.
a dive into the reservoir.
Yeah, it's great. We survive a plane crash with not a scratch, but I see a pool of water and I forget how to walk downhill. So ridiculous. No, so say they perish. What do they charge this kid with? If it comes out in the wash,
I mean, it's manslaughter. It's, you know what it is? You know what it is?
Destroy the
depraved indifference.
Right? What would it?
I just don't like. They needed They needed like 9 scenes to tighten this up, but one of the scenes should have been like he was on his last chance, or this guy should have been, the FAA guy should have been more mean. Like, I don't
screw
like
up one more time. We're gonna something. I don't know.
Right.
We're gonna tell your
the old man's busting my hump because I already killed all those farmers.
Well, and it's a nice tight bow at the end to be like, do you see why it's important to be honest? Like, yeah, now I do. Like, what? You gotta wrap it up all nice. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so
guy.
But at this point, like, Amy's kind of hanging around hoping for hope, you know, but basically the FAA is like, we're looking where you told us and they ain't there, and we're not going to look anywhere else.
No, we're done looking. We're done looking. We're done looking. And Amy's like, what? I literally just pulled up.
Yeah.
Like,
I came all this way.
The cloud of dust. See the cloud of dust? It looks like a plane crashed out there, but it was really just me pulling up in the van. And you're going to call off like, nah, okay. Okay.
So she leaves to go find them again. How? No idea.
Shitty van in the middle of the night. Going to go drive.
She's going to use the five W's.
I hope she ate that PB&J with no crust on it. Take that milk to go. You're going to get hungry.
She's still full from the burger, to be fair. So, meanwhile, in the woods, it's not going great.
It is deteriorating at a rapid pace.
Yeah. Like, basically Ted gives up the ghost that he's never crashed before, which I don't know. That's a plus for me as a passenger in a plane, but you know,
I don't know how to live outdoors. Basically, like, I'm just
a regular person like everybody else.
What a weird thing to apologize for.
Yeah. This is the only part where they mark time at all, which is they've been out there 2 days, and this is right before we get the first night scene. So we've been out here 2 days before it gets dark. She's already almost died on the berries.
Right.
They had the thimble of water.
No water. Yeah, the thimble of water.
They're basically out of rations already.
I think they had one can, which she later used to try to put 3rd-degree burns inside of his mouth with the hot campfire water. The other thing too is we learned about the pilot that the ELT is the only lady I can trust now.
It's because, I mean, based on what I was putting together, he basically bought a brothel with the money he made in Alaska, and the lady in charge of the brothel became a nun. Come on, Ted.
That's an original one.
You got to tighten up that
like,
HR
I know you're
department.
bad with ladies, but what kind of cockamamie stories are you telling people?
Worse than some of these hires Julie's made. That's like worse than hiring Schneider to polish the banisters.
Oh, definitely more of a dangerous decision than bringing what's her face back. You know, missing pearls and all. Angela.
So nightfall. Finally, we get nightfall. They survived the first night, no problem. Lickety split, I guess. But
nothing. It went by like that.
Yeah. But night 2, the lions are out.
The lions are out.
There is it like night vision? Is that what they're going with?
I don't know what that was.
It was like a green, neon green light. It looked like Starman.
Or that tank game you used to look through as a kid with the 2 sticks.
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird. I think it was just like the stock footage of a cougar. So that's all they had. Something.
But what's her name? Rebecca. She's like, nope, not happening.
He was sleeping through the whole mountain
That
line
guy's
thing.
sleeping the sleep of the dead. Like,
let me just say, something tells me he wouldn't do well in the wilderness of Alaska. This is not.
No.
Maybe that's really what happened. I can't live there. It's too much. Nature.
The next morning, and I this is probably the most realistic part of this whole episode, was the next morning. Rebecca's like, nope, we got to go.
Yeah,
I am not getting eaten by a lion. I don't care what we do, but we got to do it on the run. And Ted, again, pretty logical, is like, I will leave here, but I want to look up the top of the mountain first because maybe there's something like a path. Maybe there's like a sign that says exit.
Yeah. Well, don't forget when he was woken up about the mountain lion thing, he dramatically took his pocket knife out of his pocket and then stabbed it in the ground like we were at an LSU or an FSU home game. I was like, "What are you doing? Hey. Are you trying to intimidate the mountain lion by sticking? Hey, look, nature." Oh.
To be fair, though, 0 lions after that.
After that, you just got to show them a blade.
Exactly.
Back right
Not
off.
even a good blade. So they start to head up because they want to look out the mountain. And as they do this, we kind of mentioned it already. They come across just the most water you've ever seen in your life.
Never seen more water.
Nope, it's wonderful. It's the literal Oregon Trail. There's water everywhere.
Water everywhere. It's like Water World. It's water.
So here is exactly, in case you don't go and watch this, this is exactly the scene that happens. Ted's like, "Oh my God, there's water," and Rebecca's like, "Yes, there is," and Ted's like, he just.
He also has 2 of her suitcases under his arm.
He takes a step. For no reason, he takes a step and just goes down 1,000 feet.
He's like that chef that used to be on Sesame Street when he'd come out with like 9 coconut cream pies and he just does a face plant. This guy just rolled down a hill, which I don't really know how you would break your leg from rolling down a hill.
See, I think he broke his leg standing, which explains why he fell in the first place.
Because it's just at the excitement of seeing water.
He just needs milk.
I haven't had milk in years. Look at my bones; they're just snapped up.
All I eat is Hostess on the beach. I don't need milk.
There was a river of milk around here. Where is it?
So he goes down, and he is dead. And she gets down there, and he is like laid out, splayed out.
She walks with no problem to the bottom of the hill.
Nope.
She's still holding suitcases.
Probably wearing heels.
Yep.
Like so.
Oh, what do you think was in the suitcase? What were in the suitcases? Like they're so cold. Number one, how does she has her 3 suitcases? She's going for a quick story to Seattle.
Well, and she never gets changed.
Well, like,
she never gets changed.
Something to burn in there, like it's the same.
And you're right. Like, why would you pack that much? You're not on camera. At most, it's 1 bag. Like unless the actual camera equipment is in there, which would be insane.
Unless you have a suitcase full of water bottles, something useful.
Well, you know what I think she probably has in there is 2 suitcases full of dry shampoo because her hair looked amazing.
Amazing.
Considering she'd been in the wilderness for
Terry, your
months.
Hair is, I don't know. Nothing for nothing, Terry. But I tell you what, plane crashes and being abandoned, they do wonders. Look at that hair.
My God. And for all the wind sound effects we got, you always talk about the boat having no wind. This thing had all the wind sound and none of the wind. So
that nobody's hair is moving.
Nope.
Everyone's saying how cold they are.
Yeah.
I don't see a breeze.
I was told it was snowing. Yeah, at one point I was told it was snowing. I
didn't see a wolf. Yeah, where's the snow?
Yeah. So
no, they called off the search because there was 37% chance, and they're like, it's too much, too much to risk it.
So a lot goes back and forth here, but basically, old Ted broke his leg. Rebecca's got to set the leg.
The acting in this scene was amazing, by the way, by him. Like he is clearly trying to get a job.
Oh my God!
Outside of this show.
Yep.
Listen, I have some medical experience. I don't know what they're talking about here. What are you talking about? And the fact he's like, what did he say? He goes, "You pull, I complain."
Yep.
Like, you're gonna pull on a broken. What do you
pull? What? Wait, pull and a little to the left.
Yeah, like what do you? What? I've
Yeah.
And I've broken bones. I've never seen.
I don't know.
I don't know. And apparently after that, he was fine after he passed
No,
out.
he
from
really
pain
just
again.
kind of popped back up at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So most of the rest of the Ted scenes are he's on the ground. He's on his back.
And he's always saying how cold he is.
Yeah.
So cold.
To be fair, they say that he was unconscious for 4 hours. Like he's probably brain damaged at this point.
Well, he mentioned maybe he hit his head. Imagine he hit his head on a rock going down that hill.
Yeah.
Oh, he could have anything. I mean, although what's the standard recovery time? Like you get hit by if a palm tree lands on you, Gopher was good after a few hours, right? What was it like?
Gopher just needed to get towed off by Barbie Benton. So.
That's it. Wow. I mean, that's not necessarily a false statement either. I bet you I could. Nope. I'm fine. Perfect nose.
So basically at this point now, there's just a lot of like Ted telling Terry to go on ahead. And Terry's like, I'll never leave you. And then she goes back to the plane, I guess, to get stuff at some point.
Oh, and he admonishes her.
Yeah.
I told you. Don't
that
go
plane's
back.
Gonna explode.
It's gonna explode any day now. I'd be like, well, at least I'll be warm. Shoot.
But except for a weird conversation where Ted basically asks if she has a boyfriend.
Yeah, when he was touching her face with his weird, creepy.
Like, is this literally like you're the last man on earth kind of scenario? Like, you got a broken leg, Ted. What are you going to do?
Yeah, like, well, plus I feel like it's sort of the time. I bet you this shit happens every episode. One of them has some moment where, I mean, look, the very first scene, it was weird.
Yeah, you couldn't even get your carburetor fixed without trying to get your carburetor fixed.
Yeah, and you got to go have a burger, basically a raw burger with no fries, and your carburetor still doesn't work. And in this sort of thing, like, it's just weird.
I don't know if you agree. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like at this point now, the better half of the story is Amy, not Rebecca. Like nothing really happens
with this Rebecca thing. Like that guy's gonna die before the top of the hour gets here. So
he's as good as dead. But Amy goes driving around. She talks to the fire marshal, I guess, who had a strong mustache.
I don't know who he was, but I was like, wow, that guy seems so much more outdoorsy than the FAA people.
Oh my god, yeah, that guy looks like an old FM DJ in the 70s. Like so.
He did tell her. He said the chance of snow will get them if the tree didn't.
Yeah,
like harsh realities being dosed out.
Well,
like why don't they just say your friend's probably dead?
Yeah, because he referenced the people they didn't find until the spring. Last year. Like, so Amy's like, well,
my bracelet, so I gotta,
Yeah, Amy's like, I'm gonna go sleep on the side of the road. That milk was a little warm. She gets a call from Bosley, and he is like, you got to come home. And Amy's like, you gave me 2 weeks leave of absence. So how have you been out there for 2 weeks? What's happening?
Yeah, he just come home and get back to work.
Yeah.
Tick, 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 tick.
Stop playing guilt on me. I'm the one who sent him on the plane. There's just a lot of real great acting going on here.
I gotta say this guy stinks. Like he just stinks. He's one note. He's absolutely one note. Like there's no complexity to the character. There's no 3D. He is a flat piece of cardboard that comes across one way and one way only. Like sleeves rolled up.
Right.
Coffee,
jet string with a coffee cup.
That's it. You got to come back. He's always in a tizzy.
Amy goes back to basics, and she ends up going back to the ham radio guy. And this is where she determines that the ham radio guy has a tape recorder right on his desk.
And the tape was out too. The tape was sitting right there. Like you didn't put the tape away after you were.
The tape says your friend's incriminating death.
No kidding. Yeah, don't read this. This might I might get in a lot of trouble. It's very wordy.
Amy is furious about this, and she demands that the ham radio guy get in the helicopter and take her to the area. Doesn't demand that they call the FAA or anything. Also,
this woman is in a trailer in the middle of nowhere, right? With this weird psycho dude. There's zero chance this guy isn't killing her. Like, let's be realistic in 1978, 79.
Well, that's the thing. Way. Like, it makes more sense if he confesses to her because he's guilt-ridden.
Right. But he's not.
But the fact that she found it means if she hadn't come back, he was never going to tell
He was never. And Amy might have died looking for Rebecca. It was a whole 100%. Thing.
3 murders on your hands.
I'm certain, like, if she showed up, he was probably like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be, you're supposed to be alive looking for your friend, not.
Do you think he works for the unscrupulous chemicals transporter?
Or he works for a rival news magazine program and he set out to take them both out. I don't know. But yeah, that is weird.
You can see where this is.
Like, yeah, what if she doesn't come back?
Yeah.
They just let her die.
You can see where this is going to go now. They get in a helicopter. This is where it's his dad's helicopter, and he's going to be sore at me.
Jeez, it's not mine. Yeah, that was.
But then we actually get old Klinger got in a helicopter because they had like a shot of her going up. But again,
I will say that is not you do not sit.
No, that didn't look safe.
With a little bit of helicopter experience as a passenger. You do not. That's ridiculous. Like unless you're like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Commando.
It looks like she's leaving William Dafoe at the end of Platoon. But
it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
No binoculars either. Just what are you searching with? The naked eye.
Yeah. Well, they got the EMT or the ELT. True. So now this is my actual last favorite scene of this thing. So first of all, Rebecca hears the chopper. All this wind, they're in, this cavernous mountain range. She hears it. Reporter hears it.
Just light a fire and put all that. There's so much greenery.
Yeah.
And make.
Well, then she starts to light the fire when she hears the copter, which seems like, by the time you hear a copter, it's probably already gone normally. So
it's funny you say that because I'm watching what she's doing about building this fire, and at the scene where she's trying to rebuild the fire, she's taking handfuls of ash and putting them on top of wood, and then she gives up building the fire in like 2 seconds, and she just gets up. I was like, "There you go. Good thing you're a nurse, Terry, because you're a shitty builder of fire."
Well, when the fire plan doesn't work, she looks over and the ELT is dead. And this is where Ted's like, well, that's it.
He goes, yep, we're doomed. No, he said, there is no more hope.
Wrap it up. And she grabs it and throws it at him and is like, fix it.
She breaks it like it's never going to be repaired. That's it.
Anyway, shockingly, Amy and the ham radio psychopath find the ELT.
Well, they're almost out of gas too. Remember,
that's true. Yeah, could have been 4 deaths.
Yeah.
They find the ELT. They wave to each other. I guess they go back and get the search and rescue. And shockingly, the American girls have been saved. So,
well, it's also I notice, so Amy's in the helicopter, Rebecca's at the ground, and you know how partners do. Partners know each other, and Amy and Rebecca just kind of they give that look like. We're partners. We know what's going on. It's unspoken. And I thought if we were in the same situation, we'd have the same unspoken communication going on.
Let me tell you something.
Wouldn't need to say a lot, Because
first of all, if that exact situation comes, you throw that fucking guy out of the helicopter that didn't tell anybody to look for me over here.
Yeah, yeah. You might as well. You almost killed him, sir. Basically, yeah.
The end of the episode is the actual American report, which I wonder if they end every episode with an actual clip from the show. Was that Doug Llewellyn?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Mike. Because look, if this show launches 1 star, God, let it be Doug Llewellyn. But then I was like, so the girls don't even get to appear in their own stories? They do all the grunt work for the story?
They're basically producers.
Then why aren't they ugly? Then why did they have to pick like a couple, super, super smoking hot ladies in the 70s to do this role?
You do think they would have found their way on the camera if the shows had continued. Right. I mean,
well,
like it would have been
4. That was the plan.
Yeah, but unfortunately, as we wrap up here, this is the second the last American Girls that ever aired. I think it's the last one that we ever came across on our program.
Yeah, I didn't see any after that. I saw that they existed. They just never aired.
Yeah.
So there's a vault somewhere.
Oh.
Viacom needs to let us in on these.
Now, I went back and checked my notes from the air date when we first brought this up.
Yeah.
The Love Boat episode that aired against American Girls was the Kissing Bandit. And
they didn't stand a chance.
Fifth Dimension. Like, that's a great episode. Many stubbies were handed out for that episode.
Many award, nominees. That was
And then on CBS or on NBC was the second half of the Return to Gilligan's Island. So
wow.
Yeah, so even a Stranded episode was done better by somebody else. So it was something else.
Why would you put something like this against an established show who was pulling in all those ratings? Because you can't. You got the ceiling's got to be so low. I know there wasn't a lot on, but it's almost like you're driving them to those established shows. Who's watching this? I wonder what the numbers are, but it just didn't.
Well. We looked it up later in the season, last season, though. American Girls finished, I believe, 104th in ratings.
I mean,
which,
makes sense. I get it.
No. And this is the 5th episode of the first season. Like, you're out of ideas. Like, I almost wonder if the first episode was this bad. Like,
imagine this is them finding their rhythm.
Yeah.
The show was a little rocky.
Let me just get this phone call. It's the president of CBS. Let me just grab this real quick.
That's the other thing too, and not try to be funny, but honestly, when I'm watching this, I was like, "How is this on TV?"
Yeah,
and that's why I joked about the production value earlier. It was just, God, who's watching an hour of this on a?
No, and it really did drag. Like, we kind of zipped through the back half because nothing happened. Like, it was a lot of scenes of the guy with a broken leg just trying to hit on Terry and moaning. Yeah, a lot of moaning. A lot of bone.
It's just like, it's so cold, and I'm like, you're in a forest full of trees, and you can light a fire. So what are y'all doing? Like
a 1 hour drama, and there were 8 speaking roles? Like.
Yeah,
that's a thin cast too. Like,
there was
I think the handwriting was on the wall for the girls. I don't think.
I wonder if this is the one where some executive was like, we can't.
Shut her down.
That's it. This is a bridge too far. Sorry.
Shut her down. So, we don't have all our normal segments, obviously, for a bonus episode here, but we do have one that we're going to try out here. Mike, would you recommend people search this out to watch this?
Yes, but not because it's a good show.
Yeah.
In a humorous way, yes, but honestly, no. No, I wouldn't. I would never say, "Hey, you should check this out." That sentence would never come out of my mouth.
I'm debating whether I think it was bad enough to be good. There were definitely a couple times I laughed out loud with the lion and the whole hamburger thing at the beginning, and just the fact that Terry's hair looked the same 2 weeks later.
I think if you showed it in clip form, you could do it, but there was so much like dead.
Yeah,
like the carburetor guy. What was the point?
Yeah,
you needed a reason for it to be late, so you have to introduce a character that did, what are you doing?
The funniest part was the guy falling down the hill though, because he just fell.
Oh, he just fell. I wonder if that dude does his own stunts.
I wonder if it was a mistake.
Right? I would not. Not even. I don't think it's so bad it's good.
No.
I think there's a couple scenes, maybe it crosses that threshold, but overall, no.
Yeah. If you do want to watch it, you can find it, at least at the time of this recording, on YouTube, searching The American Girls Season 1, Episode 5. But this was a excellent maiden voyage for our bonus episodes. And like I said, we will be popping in here. I think the spirit will move us. We'll know it, right?
We'll know
when we go through our segments. But like I said, I would also like to hear from you guys if there's something that we come across, or if you see something that stars, like if it's Love Boat tangential, we will look into it.
We will, absolutely,
for sure. But yeah, we're just trying to do some different stuff. This is kind of out of the canon a little bit, but I think it was important that we checked in and found out what the American Girls was. And I don't know that I thought it was this.
You know what's funny is I don't think it's important. I think it's necessary.
Yes,
I really, really do. I think someone's got to do it. And let's be honest, right? The YouTube views for the American Girls are going to spike. There's going to be a remake of this. That's going to be like Tara Reid and that one girl from Charmed, but no one can quite remember her name.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, and Andy Dick as the editor,
the chief as Bosley.
Yeah.
The airplane pilot reminded me of a combination of that son of a bitch, Wes Larson.
Oh God, I could see that.
And John Biner, the old comedian. Like it was like very specific. So,
I saw him and I was like, Chips or Hill Street Blues?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember which one. No, I think it's important. I think it's important we check out these other shows.
Weird IMDb note. Don Johnson is listed in the cast.
I saw that too, and I did not see a Don Johnson. He's not in there. Well, Doug Llewellyn's not credited either.
Yeah, so I kept waiting. I'm like, is he in the background? But he had a name. The character had a name. I don't think the guy in the ham radio had a name.
I don't think the park ranger or whatever that guy was had a name. Well, he had a name tag. We just couldn't read it.
Right, Mustache Pete.
Mustache.
Yeah,
wow.
So
season 3 is right around the corner. But I'm very glad we did this.
I am very glad we did it. I'm excited that we have this avenue to do some stuff that's slightly off the boat. You know, I think in our mind, everything's kind of fair game here. Some of those TV movies that we come across, or
absolutely,
obviously other dramas or half hours. I think this is probably a good excuse for us to get into a Chips episode at some point.
Oh, please.
And also, you know, bonus episodes could be stuff that isn't this. Who knows? Who knows where this will lead us? But
I think we've cracked the door open.
Yeah.
To a whole lot to think about.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll know.
Yeah.
It'll come up.
It's like pornography.
So, I don't know what it looks like, but I kind of know what it looks like. Yeah.
But yeah. So thanks everybody for joining us for this bonus episode. The first episode of season 3 will be coming out here in a few days. It's a doozy. Pack a lunch for that one. We will not suffer the same problem that the American Girls faced. That's for sure.
Let's go to Alaska. Come with us.
So bundle up. We'll see you on Monday the 19th for that. But for Mike, I'm Mike. Thank you for listening to our first episode, our first bonus boat episode. And just be careful out there for mountain lions and reservoirs, I guess.
Watch out for stock footage and lots of water down a hill. Be careful. Yeah.
So pour one out for the American Girls. We couldn't have done season 2 without you, and we will not do any more with you. So
bye for now, American Girls.
R.I.P.